What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special wild card edition of The Sweat, presented by DraftKings on Bally Sports Networks. I'm Jessie Coffield, here to help guide you through 1 hour of the best DFS and sports betting advice you can find on your television. We're going to go through all 4 remaining wild card games, including Monday Night's Showdown. But before we get to all of that, I wanted to let you guys in on how you can get involved in all of the action. So it's super easy. All you have to do is head over to the DraftKings lobby and check out our NFL 2.5 million fantasy football millionaire contest. This classic contest for today's 3 wildcard games features $2.5 million in prizes with a top prize of $1 million. And get this, you can enter a lineup for just $25. We're gonna have another millionaire maker for tomorrow night's Monday Night Showdown between the Cards and Rams. And if winning $1 million in either of those contests wasn't enough, the winners of those contests will also earn a seat to our DraftKings Tournament of Champions live final, the ultimate DFS contest for the best of the best in fantasy. Time is running out to qualify for this event that takes place later this month, where the winner will walk away with another $1 million and this sweet championship ring. So you still got about an hour to fill out those lineups. We're gonna obviously help you out, give you some advice to make those decisions for you. But this show isn't just about fantasy. If you've been watching, you know we also dish out some pretty sweet betting advice as well. So for more on that, I'm gonna hand it over to my co-host, Emerson Lotzia.
All right, TV's own Jessie Coffield, future all-star mom. All right, I am Emerson Lotzia alongside Julian Edlow and Steve Buchanan. We got the happy hairy Hawaiian joining us virtually. Reed T. Fowler, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man.
How's it going, guys? Gotta wear the Hawaiian shirt, though. You can't break tradition.
Yep, amen. Amen to that. All right, so early edge time, dude. Reed, I'll have you go first. Hit me with your favorite bet of the day.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas Goddard over 4.5 receptions. I know both these guys sometimes bring out props for the best bet section. I think it's valid on a wild card weekend where a lot of the numbers are tight. These guys will get into some bets when looking at sides or spreads and parlays and teasers. Oh my! But look, 3 of the last 4, he's hit his closing number. In those 3 games too, he's hit over this specific number in general. And you look at, and I know Steve's going to cringe a little bit, the weather in this game. We don't care about wind, or excuse me, we don't care about snow. We don't really care much about rain, but we do care about wind. And if they're going to be gusting, 15 to 20 sustained and then a little bit higher every now and then, it might minimize the amount of big plays downfield to Devonta Smith. And if you talk about Devonta Smith and Dallas Goddard, over the last 6 weeks, these guys account for close to 50% of Jalen Hurts' targets. So if these guys are playing from behind, even if they're not and they got to move the ball and Tampa Bay is just loading 8 in the box to stop Hurts, I think you got to go to Dallas Goddard. So over 4.5 receptions. Yesterday it was at plus 100. I think it's moved to minus 105. I still like that number. So give me Dallas Goddard.
How are we feeling about Goddard over 4.5 receptions, Steve?
Yeah, it's a solid number, and he's been one of the most heavily targeted guys as my IFB falls out. He's been one of the most targeted guys in this offense. Huh?
Way to be a pro.
I know, I am a pro. But this is someone that Jalen Hurts has been going to. They're obviously going to be playing from behind in this one. Well, we've seen a lot of line movement in this one. I mean, this was as high as 9.5. It's down to 7 at this point. So some money coming in on that there. But I think this is a great play for Goddard. He should be getting a lot of love this one in this game. So I do like that bet a lot.
It does seem like Jalen Hurts looks to him early and often in these games. Just as Reed mentioned,
especially since Ertz has been traded.
Yes, yeah. And over the last 4 games here, Jules, Goddard averaging 6.5 targets, more than 5 receptions, and 85 receiving yards per game.
Yeah, and it looks like he didn't play in the Tampa game earlier this season, so it'll be the first time that the Bucs see him. Yep. You mentioned the target share; he's gone over in 3 of his last 4, so definitely lean over on this one, both matchup-wise and volume-wise.
All right, well, as we go to your 2 favorite bets, it's very similar. In fact, I believe it's the exact same thing. So
For the record, I sent it into Slack earlier than Steve did.
Okay.
And also gave it out before him on our podcast, Unreasonable Odds, this week. So it's more of my bet that Steve has taken under his wing, which is smart because I had the best record on the show for best bets.
Way to mix things up. So go ahead, since this is your bet. We'll see what Steve decides to copy.
Steve's going to copy all of it. We're going with the Rams minus 3.5. Steve and I can. This is a great time for the 2-shot of Steve and I side by side that we throw up sometimes. You always do the 2-shot
in weird scenarios. Do the 2-shot now.
This is the perfect time. Maybe Steve and I.
No, I don't care. Do the 2-shot now.
Can't yell at Cody like that.
Steve's very angry. Do you want to alternate sentences on our analysis?
All right, why are you
Rams
going?
minus 3. Shh, Emerson. Steve and I segment. You're off camera. So We're going with the Rams minus 3.5. Cardinals falling apart down the stretch. I think that's the main part of this
Really
analysis.
bad.
The price on this game is for the Cardinals that the public liked that started the season 7-0. 1-4 down the stretch, a classic Cliff Kingsbury collapse. Steve might have the numbers on that. Do you have the numbers on Cliff Kingsbury down the stretch in the season?
In the second half of the season, in Texas, with Texas Tech, with the Cardinals, 16-48. That
Yes.
is horrific.
That was
absolutely horrific.
And at Texas Tech, that includes a Patrick Mahomes team that limped down the stretch. So now he's got Kyler Murray in Arizona. They're falling apart. Lost the last Monday Night Football matchup to the Rams by a touchdown on the road, at home. Talent-wise, just if Stafford doesn't throw multiple interceptions in this game, the Rams have the better players all around him on all areas of the field. They have the playmakers in Donald and Ramsey on defense, and Kyler Murray, not good without DeAndre Hopkins. I think that the talent is just going to show. The Rams have spent so much money. They need this game.
Right. And you talk about the
ahead,
games that they weren't covering. 1-4 against the spread of their last 5 games. The only game they were able to cover against was when they won outright against Dallas. But you look at the teams they failed to cover against. The Rams were one of them. The Lions, who, to be fair, were a cover machine really all season long. The Colts and Seattle. Not really a daunting schedule that they had to face. They haven't been able to cover against these teams. So there's just too much for the Cardinals to overcome against a really solid Rams team. Like Julian said, this offense has really struggled without DeAndre Hopkins. It's not like he was lighting it up when he was on the field, but it shows how much they miss Hopkins because now they're able to cover everybody else and blanket them in coverage. And Kyler Murray has not been efficient through the air or on the ground. He's not running the ball much either, which is really puzzling. So with all that said, this spread is just really attractive for the Rams. So minus 3.5 for the Rams.
All right, but Reed, the Cardinals were 8-1 on the road this season. They weren't able to figure it out at home, but they somehow played better on the road. 8-1 straight up, 8-1 ATS as well.
Yeah, and I think when these guys laid out the numbers about Cliff Kingsbury, I think that's the biggest factor, right? I mean, you have Sean McVay going against Kingsbury. I don't think that's that's even close. McVay, even though down the stretch in some of the last handful of games isn't making the right calls, I don't think that all falls on him. It definitely falls on what Julian was mentioning, Stafford's shoulders. And on the DK Sportsbook right now, it's minus 120 for Stafford to throw 1 interception. So it kind of gives you an idea of how the books are looking at Stafford, not necessarily taking care of the ball. But these guys are right. Cliff Kingsbury, on these high leverage situations, he usually doesn't deploy the right strategy. And if you take a look at the last 5 games, when they were still in the NFC, essentially win their division, they went 1-5 ATS. They did not play well down the stretch at all, especially covering. And I'm with these guys. If this number was closer to 4.5 now in closing when it was earlier in the week, and while a lot of people were creeping up or betting on the Rams, then maybe you can make a case for the Cardinals getting those points because these teams have seen each other fairly often, and you usually want to take the dogs in the NFC West. But I'm with these guys. Right now at 3.5, you got to run to the window and get the Rams.
The Cards have won and covered just once against the Rams in the last 10 meetings.
Yep.
Reed, I love the bet there, over half a interception for Stafford. I mean, he wasn't picked off in the Week 14 showdown against the Cards, but had a pick in the previous meeting, and then now has thrown at least 1 pick in 10 of his last 14 games. He has 8 in the last 4 weeks.
And not only that, he led the league in pick sixes this year with 4. That was the most in the league by any quarterback.
I'm hoping he doesn't throw a pick 6, but one way that you want to maybe consider hedging your Rams bet, but potentially middling and winning both, is you bet the Rams and you bet a Stafford interception. Yep. They've survived plenty of Stafford interceptions to win games this season. However, there's no way the Cardinals win without picking Stafford off at least once. So you lose if we do lose our Rams best bet, you get it back with the Stafford INT. I feel like there's a little bit of room for a middle there, kind of a hedge. It's a little different.
Yeah. You like that strategy, Reed?
I do. Yeah, because again, you laid out the numbers, Emerson. He hasn't been safe with the ball. And I think since OBJ has been there, right, you kind of want to force him the ball because, look, he's a dynamic player in this offense. And teams are just going to double, triple, quadruple team Cooper Kupp and say, beat us with OBJ, beat us with Tyler Higbee, and whichever running back is in the backfield. And usually, that's kept teams close, right, with the Rams. This defense, too, right? You talk about this Rams defense as well. They can get a lot of pressure on Kyler. Like Steve alluded to, Kyler's not really running. I think you might have to. And there's a lot of rushing props out there for quarterbacks. I know Steve's probably going to like the over 1.5 rushing yards for Tom Brady. And so maybe you look at those as well, like Julian was mentioning. like taking some of these other prop bets if you don't feel extremely confident in the just picking a side.
Yeah, it should be a good one tomorrow night. First Monday Night Football playoff game in league history. So thanks, guys, for sharing your best bets with us.
You're
Means
welcome.
a lot. But if you want a second opinion, or really a fourth opinion here, listen to Pat Mayo as he goes over his favorite prop plays for today's wild card schedule.
Great.
I'm Pat Mayo with your NFL best bets for the NFL wildcard weekend. No longer talking spreads. We're going to be talking some totals, some props, maybe even a teaser to get you going on Sunday in case you don't like either side of the game. Maybe you think it's a bit too close or the numbers are just too sharp at DraftKings Sportsbook. We're going to try to finagle our way into some winning bets this week. So for game number 1 and game number 2, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have the San Francisco 49ers. I think a 6-point teaser works pretty well in these games. It's always worrisome when you tease against Dallas because of their potential just to absolutely blow teams out. However, with San Francisco's ability to run the ball and control the clock and pester the quarterback, you'd think it should stay within the 9 points. So we're going to be teasing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down from 8.5 to 2.5 and teasing the San Francisco 49ers up from 3 to 9. And that way we get through 3, we get through 7 with the 49ers, and the other way we get through 7 and get through 3 with the Buccaneers. So we cross 2 key numbers with a 6-point teaser on Sunday for the first 2 games. That's the way that I want to play this one. And the next best one I like, although I don't want to touch this minus 12.5 for the Chiefs. That seems like too much. I do want to hit the over 46 in the Sunday night football game. When you look at these two teams, the pace of play for both of them rank inside the top 10 of all teams this season. More plays you run, theoretically, the more points that you're going to score. And then, listen, 46 points, Kansas City might be able to hit that on their own. We only need Pittsburgh to do a little bit of work on our side. And when you look at the 4 of the past 5 games on the road that the Steelers have played, the over has hit. Each of the past 5 games for the Chiefs overall, the over has hit. And this seems like an incredibly low number, especially when you expect one team to jump out by a bunch, play a softer shell defense, and allow Ben Roethlisberger and this awful Pittsburgh team just to have some free yardage down the field. Kansas City's going to stop caring at some point. So if we can get 14 points, 17 points, hell, 20 points out of the Steelers from their side, this is going way over the number at 46. Last thing, let's look at a prop. And right now, the over-under rushing total for Elijah Mitchell against the Cowboys is 76.5. When I talked about the spreads a little bit earlier, I mentioned that I like the San Francisco 49ers not only to cover the 3 points and to cover that tease of plus 9 points, but to outright win this game. Now, if you're not on the same page as me and you think this is a Dallas route, this is a bad bet. If you think this is going to be a close game or San Francisco can be playing from ahead, this is a great bet. Only because Elijah Mitchell in the 6 games, most recent games that he has started is averaging almost 23 carries per game. That makes 76.5 not all that daunting to hit the over. He couldn't even have a bad game, but as long as he gets the volume and stays healthy, he's going to get to that number. That's going to require him to average 3.46 yards per carry. He should be able to do that if he gets the volume that he's regularly getting. Even against the Rams in Week 18 when they fell behind, they did not get away from running the ball. I would expect to see the same thing this week for San Francisco against a much worse run defense in Dallas. So Elijah Mitchell over 76.5 rushing yards. Those were the props, the specials, the teasers for Wild Card Weekend that you want to be hitting on Sunday. I'm Pat Mayo.
So far, we've heard a lot about some of our analysts' favorite singular bets, but why not up the ante and get a little wild with some Wild Card Weekend parlays? That's exactly what we're going to do right now with our friends Steve Buchanan and Julian Edlow, who have some parlay ideas of their own.
Thank you, Jesse. And here we are at the touchscreen. Steve and I are going to get wild and build some parlays here.
Yeah, we are.
Mine, actually, that I'm going to show you isn't technically a parlay. It is a 2-team teaser. 2 results to parlay. It's the same thing. People tweet me all the time, how do I build a teaser on DraftKings Sportsbook? Now I'm going to physically show you. Not going to lay the points with the Bucs, but we're taking the touchdown there. And this one, I really hope we see 12.5 there because a 6-point teaser. I want this to get down to 6.5 rather than 7, but we're going to do it the way that it is. Here's your bet slip. You see that button right there? Press that button. Teaser. There it goes for you. Minus 120. You get the 6 points each way. Now you got the Bucs at -1, the Chiefs at -7. I like getting these favorites down. It's square, but I'm not laying the points with them. Steve, I know you're a big teaser fan. And if you want to maybe get rid of or have a hook here. Like, you could just go to alternate lines and parlay, Tampa money line with Chiefs minus 6.5 or something like that. But I wanted to highlight the teaser button because we get a lot of questions about that.
So obviously I like this bet. My bet's going to be very similar. But you look at this here, obviously, what you have here with the teasers, you're getting the Buccaneers down to that, and then you get the Chiefs down to this. Obviously, much more attractive numbers than we're getting on the board here, getting at minus 120. So I have no qualms with this one here. With that said, going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to clear the bets here. So I'm also rolling with the Buccaneers at minus 7. We talked about this earlier. This line has moved a ton since yesterday. This peaked at one point at 9.5 for the Buccaneers. If that was the case, I would be rolling with the Eagles at 9.5 because I think that's just too many points, despite the Buccaneers
we bet
being
numbers,
so
not
good.
teams, Steve, right?
Right.
That's what the pros say.
That's
Sharp
what the
guys.
pros say. I'm not a pro.
No,
but with
far
that,
from it.
But with that said, I like that number for the Eagles. I thought that was just too many points. But bringing it down to minus 7, I like that there. Then I'm pairing it with probably the safest bet on the board here, which is the Kansas City money line. They are not losing this game at all. So now you're going to parlay these two together. You get the Buccaneers at minus 7, the Chiefs money line, which is an absurd minus 675. You're not laying any money down with 675, okay? But you like this bet. So you parlay these two together. Now you're getting a plus 114, so you're getting some plus money on this one here.
I mean, I don't think anybody thinks the Chiefs are losing tonight, so you're essentially almost just boosting your Tampa minus 7. So I like Tampa to win. I'm not going to argue with your bet. I just don't like the flat number on 7. So
Sure.
If I'm doing this, I'm maybe looking to get the alternate 6.5 on the Bucs. So then you have that hook to win on a touchdown, and then getting it maybe closer to even money, I guess, with the Chiefs money line. But we did similar things. I took the Bucs to win and laid a few points with the Chiefs. You took the Chiefs to win and laid a few points with the Bucs. We like the same favorites. We want them to get there. Hopefully they cover all the numbers, and we all cash some tickets there. But yeah, all I would do, only criticism, maybe get a hook there. Don't mind it, but build some parlays on the DraftKings Sportsbook and get some plus money.
If I will say, there is one thing, though, to say for the Bucs. Like we mentioned in the earlier segment, they've been so good at home this season, going 6-2 against the spread, covering by over a touchdown. This team averages over 33 points per game at home. So while you can, get a little bit of a bind here with that number there,
I took your bet away.
I do like that's okay. I do like the Bucs at minus 7 here. Something we all go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, people looking for that alternate total, you want to buy the hook. It's right there. People ask these questions on Twitter. I'm here to help.
And then you just scroll down here.
All these numbers you can bet, people. All these numbers.
Right down there. Put the camera down there, Pike. Right there.
Camera guy.
There it is. Camera guy. Do
Bucs
something.
Bucs minus 6.5. There you go. Get yourself the hook.
So we are giving you all this great insight. We're going to keep furthering that education because our friend Emerson Lotzia caught up with Ross Tucker. They're going to talk a little bit about this weekend as well.
Wow.
All right, well, joining me now to break down the remainder of Wild Card Weekend, former NFL lineman, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, and one of my favorite friends, Mr. Ross Tucker. Great to see you, dude. Your Eagles, by the way, just sneaking into the playoffs. They're going to get the Bucs, who never trailed in their Week 6 victory over Philly. This time, though, both teams look a lot different here. So, I don't know. You buying the upset?
So, well, first of all, the Eagles didn't sneak into the playoffs. They clinched with a game left.
Oh, come on.
They had a game to go. They didn't even play their starters against the Cowboys. They were able to rest their guys. Look, they have a good formula to have success in the playoffs. They're the best running team in the NFL, and I do believe that having a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, anytime you have a quarterback that can run like Hurts can, he can be the great equalizer. That said, Emerson, I played with Tom Brady in 05 and 06 in New England, and I have a tough time picturing the Eagles winning on the road against Tom Brady and the Bucs. It's Nick Sirianni's first playoff game, Jalen Hurts' first playoff game. I mean, this would be one of the more surprising results in a long time if the Eagles could pull this off. I lean to the Eagles getting the points and keeping it close, but I don't see them winning this game, no.
Do you remember how you felt in your first playoff game?
Yes, I do. You know what's funny?
What?
The first playoff game I played in was the first playoff game Tom Brady ever lost. I think Brady was 9-0 until they put me in. I'm the one that broke his streak. He had 3 Super Bowls, was 9-0. They put me in against the Broncos. Brady lost.
Amazing.
I was the original Brady streak playoff guy killer, dude.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Ross Tucker, man. The curse of Ross Tucker. You ruin everything. All right, man. 49ers on the road. They're going to travel to Dallas, try to contain that top scoring offense in the league, but they do bring a top 10 defense against the pass and the run with them to Big D here. So how much do you like the dogs covering?
Love it. My favorite bet of the week. My favorite game of the week. I love the 49ers. They are undervalued, Emerson. They're 10-7. I get it, right? Think about it. They had a couple games where Deebo Samuel didn't play. A couple games where they had no running backs. 2 games where Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play. How many games have they actually lost when they had all their dudes?
Yeah.
They are good when they have all their guys. Plus, the Cowboys still aren't right. And you don't even need to take it from me, right? The Cowboys played Dak Prescott and their starters against the Eagles practice squad guys into the fourth quarter. Now, whether they think those guys needed confidence or they wanted to make sure that those guys were in rhythm, whatever it is, the Cowboys wouldn't have kept those guys into the fourth quarter if they thought everything was going smoothly. That tells you the Cowboys realize something just isn't quite right. I think the Niners win the game outright. Love them with the points.
Wow, Prescott's playing some of his best football right now, too, here, Ross. 13 touchdowns against 0 interceptions over the last month. Definitely should be an exciting game. Don't know if we can really say the same here between the Steelers and Kansas City. The Steelers, there you go. There's a team just sneaking in because it literally took the last second of the season for them to get into the playoffs. The reward, that trip to Kansas City. How can Pittsburgh keep this thing close?
Whew. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. The thing I will say about the Steelers, they never wave the white flag. They never relent. They were the underdog in all of their games towards the end of the season, and they still won a bunch of them. Underdog against the Browns, underdog against the Ravens. They still win. They never wave the white flag. They will battle. But I just don't think they have the firepower. I mean, maybe TJ Watt gets 3 sacks and they get a defensive touchdown. I mean, the Steelers only run one offensive play. It's the shallow cross to Claypool or to Deontay Johnson. It's uncanny how often they run that play. Maybe one of those guys breaks a long one. I don't see it happening.
All right, so this will be Ben Roethlisberger's farewell game. His career will come to an end in Kansas City. You're calling it.
Yes, I think so. And guess what? He's already had, this will be his 3rd farewell game. He had the home Monday night game. He had the game in Baltimore. I think 3 is enough.
Yeah, for sure. Which game total do you like to go either over or under?
Whew. Man, I don't really love any of them, to be honest with you. There's none that jump out to me. I guess if I had to say one, maybe the under in the Eagles game, just because of how well they run the ball. There's supposed to be weather in Tampa, with the rain and the wind, how well the Eagles run the ball. They play soft coverage defensively. So if I had to, I'd say under in the Eagles-Bucks game.
All right, are you a little more confident in hooking us up with someone on the DFS side you think could put up some good fantasy points in his first playoff appearance?
Yes. Ooh, you already knew it.
What?
How did you already know who I was going to go with?
What?
It's Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
The way you set me up there, you knew I was going to go with Jalen Hurts. Look, we all know for quarterbacks that can run, that's huge for fantasy. And I don't see a scenario where the Eagles win if Jalen Hurts doesn't put up big numbers, either throwing it to Goddard and Devontae Smith or running it. Probably both. I think Hurts probably has over 50 yards rushing in this game. Jalen Hurts, get him in your lineup.
All right, dude, before we get you out of here, I know you were in the booth last night for Bills Patriots, but Monday Fun Day, we got a Monday Night Football playoff game. You'll be covering this one as well. You got Rams Cardinals. They split the season series. Road team winning both of those matchups. Arizona has lost 4 of 5, but you got the Rams who have won 5 of 6. Who takes care of business in the rubber match?
I'll go with the Rams. I think they're the better team. They're playing at home, but I would lean Arizona getting the points. It feels sort of like a toss-up game to me. I think the Rams have a little bit of an edge on the Cardinals, but I do think Kyler Murray's legs, sort of like we talked about with Jalen Hurts, are the great equalizer and give the Cardinals a chance. Plus, Matthew Stafford, 2 turnovers in each of the last 3 games. He's never won a playoff game. Can you even imagine what the conversation will be like Tuesday if they lose this one? I think the Rams win, but it's close enough that if I had to go, I'd go with the Cardinals and the points.
Hey, listen, Cardinals, while they may have never figured things out at home, they were 8-1 on the road this season. Let's keep that in mind.
Absolutely. They're better on the road.
Yep.
Plus, the Rams don't exactly have a great home field advantage. I think there was more Niners fans there last Sunday than Rams fans.
It's a large, large stadium. It's like another planet, dude. Ross Tucker, you bring us mucho, mucho joy. Until next week.
Sounds great, dude. Thanks for having me.
All right, that was some fantastic advice from my guy, Ross Tucker. So take it to heart. Use some of it to build an award-winning lineup. How about a money-making lineup? Yeah! Head over to the DraftKings lobby and check out our $2.5 million fantasy football millionaire contest. This classic contest for today's 3 wildcard games featuring, oh my God, $2.5 million in prizes with a top prize of $1 million. You can enter a lineup for just $25. Do not forget, tomorrow we will have another Millionaire Maker for the Monday Night Football showdown between the Cards and the Rams. Things are about to get emotional, though, here on The Sweat, right after this short, emotional break.
DraftKings Sportsbook is live in New York. New customers can bet $5 on their team to win, and if they do, you walk away with $280. Don't wait. This offer is only available for a limited time. Use promo code SWEAT when you sign up.
Hey guys, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the co-hosts to Props and Drops, along with Matt Kalish, co-founder of DraftKings. Make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, where we talk about props, the bets, and what's going on in sports culture, and the drops, everything that's happening in NFT land. Subscribe anywhere you listen to a podcast, Props and Drops.
Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings here on Bally Sports Networks. Up to this point, we've talked sportsbook plays for today's slate, but
It's true.
it's time to shift our focus to DFS.
That's not a problem. We like to think of ourselves here as people who are in touch with our emotions. And, you know, we can let ourselves be vulnerable at times. We can open up. So let's share all the feels right now with DraftKings contributors Reed T. Fowler, Pierce Dietrich, and Jeff Ulrich.
So basically, which wildcard weekend players and games will make you feel like these emojis? Starting with
What do we got?
the heart eyes emoji.
Yeah!
The heart eyes emoji. Fellas, which player, which game is going to make you feel like the heart eyes emoji? Let's find out. Reveal. Tell us, or we'll just go one by one.
Yeah.
Pierce, we'll start with you.
I don't think there's whiteboard involved
Yeah, I thought
here.
like maybe I forgot how we do
Come
this.
on, you gotta lower your standards
I
here.
mean, okay. Pierce, tell us.
Okay. So love can be irrational, so let's go with an irrational pick. And Keyshawn Vaughn. It sounds crazy, but Ronald Jones is out, Leonard Fournette is out, Giovanni Bernard is going to play, but he's questionable, and he's mainly just a receiving back. The weather is going to be an issue in this game. You've got possibly 20-mile-per-hour wind. It sounds like a game where they're going to run a lot, and you get Keyshawn Vaughn at the bottom against a pretty weak rush defense.
All right, Reed, who's going to make you feel like the heart eyes emoji?
Yeah, I worried there for a little bit. I was like,
I have my whiteboard.
All of you were panicking. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got emotional. I got really emotional and scared. I'm not going to be as irrational as Pierce. I enjoy a nice little contrarian play at Keyshawn Vaughn. But I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to be square with this. I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to triple stack him with Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson. Now with Gallup out for the rest of the year with a knee injury, the rest of the playoffs, Cedric Wilson can come in very nicely into this game at $4,300 too. I think it's massively too cheap against a team in San Francisco. The secondary, especially against the slot, has been pretty bad this season. So I like that Dallas San Francisco game, but mostly on the Dallas side.
All right, Jeff, what do we think?
I mean, no one's more in touch with our emotions on the show than me, Jesse. And
Obviously.
the guy who makes me feel the heart eyes emoji every time I look at it is Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, have you seen his jawline? But Jimmy Garoppolo is in a great spot for fantasy, and I think people are going to be feelings for Jimmy G after today because he's very cheap. And he has been playing well. He's averaging over 9.5 yards to attempt over his last two games, over 300 yards in each of those games. He's a high volume spot against the Cowboys. Teams average over 36 pass attempts against them. Play Jimmy G. He's got a lot to play for here. People doubting him whether he's going to be back. You know the San Francisco offense can get it done.
Gentlemen, up next, the laugh until crying emoji. I don't know, is this like laughing because the performance is like a joke, or you're so happy because maybe your bet or your
would've
pick
thought?
hit? I don't know. Reed, you tell me.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty self-explanatory, and I thought in that last segment Jeff was going to bring it back with someone like Tevin Coleman, but he's not obviously in the playoffs.
Is he playing today?
Yeah, he's playing today. I would have roster him at $3,000. I think this one is pretty self-explanatory for me. It's Ben Roethlisberger. And it's kind of a little bit of both, right? I'm smiling and I'm laughing because he's going to have a very, very tough time. And it's probably going to be a little bit similar to what we saw last night, right, with the Patriots and the Bills, where Kansas City is just up by a lot. And I know that's not like it's correlation, causation. It's not the same. But this guy can't throw deep anymore. They're going to have to hand it off a bunch. And that's not going to be the case if you want to keep up with Kansas City, right? And so I'm going to be laughing a little bit hysterically that the Steelers are in the playoffs. But I'm going to be crying towards the end that this is a Sunday night game. That you have to watch it.
Well, Jeff, not to put you on blast, I know you're already laughing at Steve and Julian, their best bet today with Rams. But give me someone in DFS you're going to be giggling.
Yeah, maybe we'll address that in the next segment. But look, Reed's close with this one. As the show psychologist, this is like I call this the absurd emoji. You know, this can be interpreted in multiple ways. A guy's so bad, it's absurd. I'm going to take it the other direction. You're going to see so many fantasy points flow from Amari Cooper today. You're just going to be laughing, and you're not going to know what, because the points are just going to keep racking up and racking up. Cooper's got great home splits. He's going to be up against a San Francisco secondary, who a couple guys have already mentioned is not good. And I think the San Francisco offense is going to put a ton of pressure on Dallas to throw the ball. I think you're going to be laughing because of just how many points are flowing from Amari Cooper today.
All right, Pierce, talk to me. What's going to make you feel like this? Who's going to make you feel like this?
I didn't know Jeff Ulrich was the Albert Camus of the sweat, talking about absurdity. Well, I'm with him on the same page. It's going to be Dak Prescott and the Cowboys that are going to make us laugh and cry. He's just going to laugh at people that thought, oh, San Francisco is going to hang in there. Why hasn't this line moved? Dallas has the better offense. Dallas has the better defense. Dallas has faced a tougher schedule. Dallas is at home. Dallas has been ripping through teams over the last couple weeks, and Dak Prescott has been that reason. Just look at his game log. He's just going to be laughing at people at the end of this game that thought San Francisco had a chance.
Pierce, is that Albert Camus, the French philosopher?
That's right, right over the street.
Oh, Google.com.
Nailed
Yeah.
it. No, actually, I'm a big book guy. Whatever.
No.
No, forget you. Forget
Take
you.
away his laptop or whatever he's
We did just Google it when Pierce said that, and we both looked at each other like this.
I
So then we
guarantee
Googled
Emerson
it.
thought that he created that was the Avenger
Like a
of the
cartoon
canoe.
character.
Yeah, he was like, oh my
All
God, he's
right.
from the Marvel movies, right?
Next emoji.
All right,
Come on.
How about the sunglasses cool emoji? Who's gonna make you feel like this during the games today? Jeff, what do we think? You're super in touch with your emotions.
Yeah, super. I'm gonna go with. I think you got to go with like a lower owned play here, like someone you're just gonna look cool to the whole community with. No one was on this guy, and I'm gonna go with Chase Claypool here. I know he's had a miserable season. He only had 2 touchdowns after having 9 in his rookie year, but you look at what the Steelers are doing. The Steelers have finally realized that the deep ball with Ben Roethlisberger to Chase Claypool, it doesn't work anymore. So they're giving him some Deebo Samuel type touches. 3 rushes last week for 33 yards. I think you're going to see a lot of usage like that for Claypool in this game. He's very cheap in DFS. I think you're going to feel really cool, Jesse, if you use Chase Claypool today.
Real cool. Veers, who's gonna make you feel real cool?
I'm going to feel really cool rostering Daryl Williams while other people worry, oh, but he's questionable and he might not get the touches. He's going to be fine. Ignore the Q tag. He's facing the 27th ranked rush defense. That's what Kansas City is going to do. They're going to crush them on the ground. We saw Williams do this last season. He carried the team through the playoffs. Unfortunately, he didn't get them to the Super Bowl win, but he was good in the AFC side of it.
All right, Reed, who's gonna make you feel
Daryl
like
Williams
the sunglasses
carrying the
cool
team through the
emoji?
Yeah, I wish there was an over-under how many times this season Jeff has mentioned Chase Claypool and the touchdown regression. I think it's about 20 times so far. But to his point, his ADOT from week 16 to last week has come down drastically, right? And like almost 50% in terms of the yardage. So I do like that call a little bit. But guys, I mean, it's the coolest guy in the playoffs, Rob Gronkowski. This is playoff Rob. He just got a cool mill, right? Brady, for whatever reason, like it got to a little bit too close for comfort, but he got that mill and he comes in the playoffs, right? 10 targets in back-to-back games. And this is just the match made in heaven when it comes to this time of the year. 25% of the end zone targets in week 16 and 17, guys, go to number 87 on Tampa Bay. I just love the tight ends in this matchup, especially when you have probably a slower field because of the rain before the game and then all the high winds. So give me Rob Gronkowski. He's the coolest guy in the playoffs.
Yeah, Eagles are going to be feeling a little sad after they get smashed by Tampa Bay today. What about you, Pierce? It's going to be having you feeling a little sad.
Yeah, I'll feel sad for myself because the Chiefs are going to destroy the Steelers. Patrick Mahomes is going to have an awesome game. I don't know. I was thinking earlier this week, thinking that the Steelers could cover this spread. The Chiefs have a great defense, a better offense. They're playing at home. Basically, everything is in their favor. What was I thinking the Steelers had any chance whatsoever? Play Mahomes, play all the Kansas City players.
Well, it's like the great Albert Camus once said, no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there's something stronger, something better pushing right back. Jeff, what's going to have you feeling sad today?
I mean, I'll push back. I'm a little surprised Pierce is getting. I'm still on the Steelers bandwagon. Well, I'll be there. Pierce is going to try and take credit for this after, but you just don't. Anyway, sad face emoji. You mentioned the Eagles there, Emerson. I think the sad face emoji is going to be on the other side because I think Tom Brady is losing this game. I think the Eagles win outright here. I'm going to stick with that call too. And I think you're going to be sad if you roster Tom Brady in DFS today. Eagles defense a little bit better than people realize. There's no wide receivers except Mike Evans to cover. Eagles have 2 top 20 rated cornerbacks. I don't think Brady's going to have a good day. I think you're going to be sad if you roster him.
Okay, Reed, someone who either will have you feeling sad or you just want to warn everybody, you will feel sad. You will look like this beefy emoji in my hand if you roster said player.
Yeah, what self-awareness by Pierce. When he's not DFSing, he's looking internally at the decisions that he's making throughout the week, as opposed, also reading books. Follow Pierce on Twitter. But look, it's Zeke Elliott, right? This is Zeke Elliott. This is a full-blown committee in Dallas right now, and this guy probably needs 2 touchdowns to return the price, to return investment on his price. He's one of the highest in terms of salary at the running back position, and he's the only guy for the 8 running backs that we have on this slate that doesn't have a Q tag, an IR tag. He's the only one coming in without an injury designation, and a lot of people are probably flocking to this and saying, hey, if Dallas is up by a lot and if San Francisco can't keep up, like Pierce was saying, then why not give it to Zeke? But again, we've seen this be a stable of running backs, and at his price, I think he needs multiple touchdowns to bring back value. So, Zeke, you're going to make me cry today.
All right, guys, finally, the monkey covering his eyes emoji. The monkey covering his eyes emoji. Maybe it's embarrassment. Maybe it's something that you just can't believe. Reed, who's going to make you feel this way?
Yeah, for one, it's Jeff Ulrich for not knowing which dog is in Emerson's picture.
Thank you.
So he's covering his eyes in embarrassment. And number two, it is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo. Not for the fact that I think he's going to be bad, but those like 3 or 4 bonehead passes that he has where he throws it directly to the defense, that's going to cover because they're going to be close. This game, I think, is going to be close. San Francisco has a lot of players that we're going to want to play on DFS. We know that they can keep this game close, but again, those 3 or 4 plays from Jimmy Garoppolo where he just throws it to the other team, it's going to make you cover your eyes.
All right, Jeff, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Mike Evans. I think this feels like a spot where he might get 10 targets, but I just don't think it's going to be a good day for him. The Eagles are just so good at covering these guys on the outside. Darius Slay, 7th-rated cornerback via PFF this year. And look, I mean, you know, the way you attack the Eagles is down the middle. So I like the Rob Gronkowski call from earlier from Reed, but I really think that you're going to be just like, why? I don't even want to look at the score from Mike Evans today if you roster him.
All right, Pierce, who's delivering these vibes to you?
It's going to be Jeff Ulrich over the next week, because if the Chiefs win, then that means the Bengals are going to play the Titans, and he's going to have to spend all week on the sweat trying to explain how the Titans are going to beat the Bengals. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be terrible. People should tune in every day to hear what crazy thing Jeff says about how the Titans are somehow going to beat this Bengals team. It's not going to happen.
Cannot wait until the Titans get to the Super Bowl. Can we just fast forward the next 3 weeks, please?
No.
No, we want it to last forever. All right. Thanks for opening up your souls, gentlemen, and congrats to everyone cashing their over 1.5 mentions of Albert Camus tickets today.
Yeah, we
Jeff
love that.
and Pierce, though, please stick around, because coming up, you're going to give us your favorite captain plays for all of the Wild Card Showdown contests as the sweat presented by DraftKings on Bally Sports Networks continues.
DraftKings Sportsbook is live in New York. New customers can bet $5 on their team to win, and if they do, you walk away with $280. Don't wait. This offer is only available for a limited time. Use promo code SWEAT when you sign up. Welcome back to The Sweat, presented by DraftKings on Bally Sports Networks. Here's the schedule for this weekend's remaining wildcard games. So at 1 p.m. Eastern, the defending champs look to continue their road to a repeat against the Eagles in just the sixth wildcard game of Tom Brady's entire career. Then at 4:30 p.m., the 49ers and Cowboys meet in the playoffs for the eighth time, but first time since 1995. The Steelers will look to pull off one of the biggest upsets in NFL playoff history as they take on the heavily favored Chiefs tonight. And finally, the Cardinals and Rams will close out the first weekend of the NFL playoffs with their third meeting of the season. So let's take a look at the showdown contest for all of those games with DraftKings contributors Jeff Ulrich and Pierce Dietrich. Fellas, and what's your favorite captain plays for the remaining 4 wildcard games? So let's start with your captain for Eagles-Bucks, Jeff.
Yeah, I really like Dallas Goddard here. And I mean, you look at how this game is set up for the showdown format. All the studs are really priced up in here. Obviously, you want to get a piece of Jalen Hurts just because of his rushing upside. Rob Gronkowski, we've already talked about the fantastic matchup. Both these guys are top 4 in terms of salary. And if you want to add like an Evans or a Brady in there too, you need to save money. Dallas Goddard averaging 6.5 targets over his last 4 games. He's really picked it up too in the yards per reception, averaging over 15.5 yards. He's got a really good ceiling. And good ceiling players are good to put in your captain spot. Obviously, the Eagles are projected to be behind in this game. I like Goddard here. He's got lots of upside in this matchup, lots of upside late in the season.
All right, Pierce, what do we think for that Eagles-Bucks game? Who you put in the captain spot?
It's got to be Keyshawn Vaughn. You got the running backs. They're all going to be out. He's going to get the volume. The weather is going to favor him in this game. The point spread favors him running the ball in this game. He's got the 5th best offensive line in terms of adjusted rushing yards. And I can't see why going anywhere else in this spot. I mean, he's going to get all the goal line work. And as we've said all season long, showdown is all about chasing touchdowns. And he has a higher probability of scoring a touchdown than a lot of the other players in this game.
All right, Jeff, 49ers, Cowboys, who's your captain for this one?
Exact same philosophy here. You need to save money in the captain spot. And Amari Cooper is 10-8 in the captain spot. You know, that's $4,000 less than CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I think that CeeDee Lamb, obviously the more consistent player, targets, but upside-wise, there's really no difference. We've seen Amari Cooper put up some absolutely monstrous games over his career. His home splits are so much better over his career than his road splits. I'm talking completion percentage, yards per reception, and most of those splits have come at home in Dallas. He gets a really good matchup here. Upside-wise, again, it's just a really, really good spot for Amari Cooper, and it saves you all the cash to fit in guys like Dak, Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel.
All right, Pierce, who are you putting in the captain spot for this one?
I got to try to find a way to get Dak Prescott in my lineups. Their offensive line is healthy. He's got enough wide receivers. His running backs are actually playing a little bit better, so that's going to keep the attack be a little bit more balanced. You look at his last 3 games, he's been on fire. 280 yards per game, around a 70% completion rate, 44 touchdowns per game. Even before that against the Giants, he had a great game. They just didn't need to use him. I mean, he's been lights out. I would imagine that in a softer matchup today, he's just going to continue to roll.
All right, let's talk about your captain for Steelers Chiefs. Jeff, you're going with Najee Harris here.
Yeah, I mean, this one is interesting. I was going to go, again, the same strategy, maybe go Chase Claypool in the captain spot, but we've got Juju Smith-Schuster playing, and he's like $200. So this is a game for showdown where you should be paying up for a stud in the captain, I think. Najee Harris in a really good spot here. The Steelers have actually been running the ball a little bit better of late, especially Harris. With his big workload, he's actually been upping his yards per carry average. The Chiefs also give up the 4th most receptions to running backs this year. So it's a really good spot for Harris. And I think the Steelers are going to make this game more competitive than people realize. So I like paying up for him in the captain spot.
All right, Pierce, who do you like putting in the captain spot for this one?
I'll take Daryl Williams. Pittsburgh's rush defense has been terrible. Williams has 14 rushes inside the 5-yard line this season. That's 3rd in football. As I mentioned already, it's all about touchdowns on these showdown slates. And if you're playing a bigger slate, then you look and see that this Tampa game might not have very many scores coming from it. So the touchdowns that Daryl Williams gives will probably provide you with an optimal lineup. So Daryl Williams getting the touchdowns is something that I want to have.
All right, finally, Cardinals Rams. Jeff, who's your captain in this one?
Yeah, as Stephen Julian failed to kind of hit on earlier in the show, the Rams defense is really, really banged up. There's no Jordan Fuller, their main play caller. Darius Williams also out. Rapp is out. They've got Eric Weddle back there. I think you go with the Cardinals here. You could pay up for Kyler Murray, but again, I'm going to take the route where you save money with the wide receiver. You go with a guy like Christian Kirk. I think this guy has a big game in him. The targets have been there. He just hasn't quite connected with Christian Kirk. But with this, how beat up this Rams secondary is, and they have not been good at limiting wide receivers. I think Christian Kirk can have a big day in this spot. And again, it's all about saving money in the captain to fit in guys like Kupp and Murray.
All right, Pierce, where are you going?
You can save money and try to guess who's going to have a good game, or you could just play the guy that we know is going to have a good game, which is Cooper Kupp. Last time he faced the Cardinals, he got 15 targets. I imagine he's going to get at least 15 targets in this game. Stafford doesn't need to work OBJ into these games anymore and make him feel wanted. He's just going to constantly feed the ball to Cooper Kupp. He's been outstanding. The offensive line is healthy. Stafford looks good. And the Cardinals' secondary has struggled over the last month.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Jeff and Pierce. We are closing in on kickoff of the first game of the day, so I'm going to send it over to Emerson Lotzia with the guys where they're working up a sweat over some last-minute picks.
All right, Jesse, phenomenal job today. Thank you so much for your
clap
help.
every
Yeah,
time.
are we not? You stopped clapping?
Well, no, you know what? Because Jeff Ulrich comes on here and starts to slander me without me being able to respond. He is so wrong about the Cardinals. I just want to put that out there. Look, there he is. Look,
There's
there
his
he
face.
is. Yeah. How do you like it?
Boo that man!
Hey, if you think the Cardinals and Matthew Stafford throwing like 4 picks a game can
No.
somehow cover 3.5, that's fine. I mean, that's a bet that you threw out there. But Kyler Murray's been the better quarterback of late, so I'm just not really sure where all this is coming from, guys. I mean, I just don't know.
Coming from the Cardinals being a bad team.
And you know what? I'm going to take it a step further. We're going to
ahead.
start this segment right now. Working up a sweat. Is that what it's called? Is that what the segment's called?
sure.
We're going to start this segment right
Really
now. Roll
sweaty.
that graphic. You stay on, Jeff, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Not only am I going to be backing the Rams in this spot, I'm going to take an alternate line. I'm going to take the Rams minus 6.5. Plus 125. That's where you're going to go, okay? I don't even need the 3.5. Forget it, okay? Too generous. Going to go up 3 points more. Minus 6.5 for the Rams. Not only do they cover it easily. Maybe I'll go up 9.5. What's 9.5? Let's take a look. Plus 180. Might do it.
Wow.
Might do it. What's 10.5? Plus 200.
All right, hey, slow
It's
down,
more
slow
enticing.
down, slow down. You have a family.
I'm just gonna go to the exact result market and take Rams 100-0.
Yeah, that's fine too. You're going to look so stupid. In about
That's great.
Arizona Cardinals money line.
It's like-
easiest bet. You just wait till Monday. You're already cashing your bets that we've given you from Sunday. Just put a little on the Arizona money line. You'll be fine. Just
Put a little? Why don't you put a lot, Jeff? I thought you were so confident. Why don't you put your whole bankroll on it? I thought you were so confident. Why would you only put a little?
maybe I will.
Yeah, you won't.
Oh, wow.
You won't.
All right, Jeff. Well,
was
thanks for
fun.
hanging out and giving us a
thank you.
bonus appearance here
Got
and
it.
working up a sweat.
Losing bet.
Steve is already sweating. We know what he's
Profusely.
working up a sweat about. Reed, anything you may be
Top that.
rethinking here before lock? Yeah, Steve tries to cool off.
17 and a half
no
plus
kidding.
385.
What's that?
Plus 17 and minus 17 and a half for the Rams. Plus 385.
Yeah, look, I mean,
get the 20.
I think that's this. Obviously, Steve's getting a little bit worked up, and Jeff, in his Canadian self, doesn't really want to, indulge Steve there. But I think it goes to the point of this game being kind of back and forth of like, which side are you on? I'm obviously on the side of the guys here with the Rams, and I do think like for the betting side of it, these numbers are pretty mature. I'm actually looking at this Tampa Bay and Philly game where a lot of people are going away from. We know the highest game total on today's slate is with that 49ers and Cowboys. But talking about Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, I'm not as worried as Jeff with like the no receivers, except for probably one of the best tight ends that we've had in the game for the last handful of years, along with the best quarterback that we've had over the last 20 years or ever in this game. I'm not too worried at all. Looking at that game, even on the DFS side with Jalen Hurts and bringing it back with guys like Gronk and Keyshawn Vaughn, like Chris mentioned. So probably taking some of my shares away from that Dallas game because so many people are going to be on it and going to that Philly Tampa game.
So you're not worried about like the offense lacking some of those playmakers that they did have in that first meeting of the season when they won 28-22 in Week 6, Reed?
No, not at all. I mean,
Okay.
again, the best unit on the Phillies defense is their defensive line. But you talk about Tampa Bay's offensive line, it's one of the best, right? So you take a look at both of those matching up against each other, it kind of equalizes itself out. And then
Gotcha.
what are you left with? You're left with maybe Mike Evans and Darius Slay, but you still got a handful of guys. Even Cameron Brate comes to mind too. If you can get him at first touchdown, this is Tom Brady in the playoffs, guys. It's not the same as Bill Belichick with the Patriots and a rookie quarterback. This is Tom Brady with essentially a team. Yes, granted he has some guys down, but Giovanni Bernard is back. He's active for this game, so he's getting some players back. I'm not worried at all.
Yep, and Tampa has generated more than 100 total points over its last 3 games of the regular season. 73 of those were against a sound Carolina defense. anything that is cooking in your brain, anything you're rethinking? Because I know you're a smart guy.
Yeah, a lot of things cooking up here. I'm going to say, like, just going off more of the Brady stuff, it's nice that he has all the weapons that he's had. I mean, AB, Godwin, great. But we've seen him do it without weapons. We've seen him do it constantly in New England without weapons. So I think that, we'll get to make it rain, which I have a Tampa guy there. But I think that there's room for a wide receiver to really break out in this game on the Tampa side of things. So, and that's beyond Mike Evans. So a Brashad Perriman, a Tyler Johnson, a Scotty Miller, I think one of those guys is going to have a huge game. If I'm picking, I would go Tyler Johnson. I think he's a guy that could see a lot of work for Tampa. But Brady's going to turn somebody into a star in this game.
Well, we do know Rob Gronkowski, already a star, and as we go to make it rain, we got about 4 minutes left in this show. You're looking at Rob Gronkowski as your pick.
I am. Eagles allow the second most DraftKings fantasy points to the tight end position. As I mentioned, no AB, no Godwin. Gronk is his guy. It's time. You take it easy on Gronk in the regular season, keep him healthy, pepper him with targets when he has $1 million cash on the line, and bonuses to keep him happy, and then he's going to come out and dominate the Eagles in a playoff game. Last 2 weeks, he's caught 14 of 20 targets total. He's gone well over 100 yards in each game. No touchdown. I think he's going to reach the end zone in this one, though. I'm all about Gronk. I think he's going to have a huge game no matter what the weather is there in Tampa. It's a great matchup, and the volume is going to be there.
And again, we're talking picks here that will help you make it rain cash all over your lineups at home. And Steve, you're going to the same guy here because we know he's a dominant force. Like, yeah, I know. I didn't know if you knew that.
God.
Well, you were late getting in your picks.
No. I sent him to the producers first, Rams and Gronk, and Steve just copy-pasted and, man.
Either way, we know Gronk is a dominant force, especially in the red zone. But it feels like he has that 100-yard upside in this game, does he not?
I mean, Julian can complain all he wants about copying answers, but if that's the answer, then that's the answer. So why would I not want to go with that?
So that's what Steve did in high school. If that's the answer, that's the answer. Copy everybody.
And look where I am today. Here's the thing with Gronkowski, too, is that the Eagles have given up the most receiving touchdowns to opposing tight ends at 13. That was the most in the league. Rob Gronkowski, even with missing a handful of games, even with a few games where he didn't even get a red zone target, he's still averaging over 1 red zone target per game. That is going to continue today, especially with, like Julian said, no Fournette, no Godwin, no Antonio Brown in this offense. If they're going to go to anybody in this one, it's going to be Rob Gronkowski. So, like him to score an anytime touchdown, I'd even be inclined to look at him to score 2 or more touchdowns in this game as well, which is a bet you can take on the DraftKings Sportsbook. So, I'd be looking all at that there, but, this is a square play. I mean, not going to lie. I mean, there's only 3 games to choose from, but I think Gronkowski is the play here. At tight end, he's going to have a monster game against a defense that can't defend against this position.
I mean, a 7-reception, 120-yard, 2-touchdown performance wouldn't shock anybody, right?
Nope.
I just enjoy thinking about Steve getting caught cheating on his test and explaining to the teacher, if that's the answer, that's the answer.
What's you going to say? No?
No, it's like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, sure, man. Just change it up a little bit so it doesn't look like you copied.
Yeah.
And you forgot to change it up today.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm fine.
Reed, who'd you make it rain pick, man?
Rob Gronkowski?
Yeah, that's like Emerson in high school getting a 78% and it's a B+ average.
That's right. That's a Florida
different
education.
rules down there.
Florida, baby!
Right. The one thing about Gronk, and I like him, right? I think he's going to be someone that does well. Cameron Brate, and these numbers you have to take with a grain of salt, right? Cameron Brate is someone that was top 14, top 15 in red zone targets this season. But again, right, guys have been out, Gronk has been out, so Cameron Brate fills in. And when you're in the playoffs, you want to go to guys that you feel confident with. Brady feels confident in both of those tight ends. But I'm going to another guy. He's cheap. Cedric Wilson at $4,300. I mentioned him earlier in the all the feels segment. And look, San Francisco has not been great against slot receivers. If you look at touchdowns, yards per target, receptions, all of those metrics for their defense, they don't rank better than 23rd in the NFL. We talk about their secondary being a little bit questionable and unhealthy. Cooper Kupp, we targeted him last week, and look what happened, right? So give me Cedric Wilson, $4,300. You can get guys like Gronk in your lineup.
Love it, man. 119 yards, 2 scores again. Last week, sliding in for the injured Michael Gallup. Good stuff. You guys did phenomenal today. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us. Thanks, Jessie Coffield, for joining us as well. And, guys, don't forget to listen to their podcast, Unreasonable Odds Podcast. New episode will drop on Tuesday. Really good stuff.